just that morning, and she had pearls around her neck and crystal earrings dangling from her ears. She'd made it to the big time. She had nothing to be afraid of. This is what she'd wanted all her life, to be treated like she was worthy of the best, and to feel like she deserved it. This was what her mother had dreamed of for her. Oh, Mama, she thought, I sure wish you could see your little girl now. She'd gone into Saks, and just inside the door she'd been stopped by the doorman and asked if she knew where she was. But Norman had made it right, and she was wearing that dress right now. She swung her head to feel the earrings touch the sides of her neck. Thinking about her mother made her also think about last night, lying on the pristine white sheets of the Waldorf Astoria. I'm going to put you up in the presidential suite, Norman had said. You're a princess. You deserve this. You deserve all the best things in life. The suite had been enormous. The French provincial furniture, daunting and luxurious, but the memory that stuck with Ella now, the memory that circled around her like an agitated bird, was the smell of those bed sheets, fresh and full of sunshine. How had the hotel made sheets smell like sunshine? Ella had washed enough sheets, and she'd never heard of this before. She wished she could tell her mother, but she couldn't. Instead, she sat on a surprisingly hard vinyl chair in the green room of Toast of the Town, about to be broadcast live into thousands of homes, mostly white, and she could hear Ed Sullivan talking to the crowd, and her mother would know nothing of this. Then Norman came back, self-assured and handsome, with his lantern jaw and impossible grin, and white, and carrying a teacup for her. She hadn't even asked, but he'd known anyway that she'd want it. Here you go, sweetheart, he said, and she thanked him, took the cup gratefully. Black tea with lemon. She began warming up her voice, sipping on the tea. You're gonna be great, he was saying, and then saying other things, but she wasn't listening. She wished she'd had her nails done. The crowd wouldn't notice, but they would notice if she was frightened or nervous or vulnerable. The past years of touring had taught her how to just stare above the heads of the crowd if she doubted herself. And she was going to look for that one colored person if she got scared. The crowd roared a response to something Ed Sullivan said, and her throat closed up. She knew she'd forget the words. She knew the white people would laugh at her. This ain't nothing, she told herself, thinking back, as she often did, to her very first performance, years ago now, at the Apollo Theater. If you can survive contrary colored folks, you can do anything. She shook her head. Now go head on. You've been through a lot worse than this girl. This was true. She had been through a lot worse. But, right then, it was as if she could draw a line, plot a chart, connect the misery from those terrible days after what happened to her mother, right through those terrible years before the Apollo. The path would lead her here, to this moment, to this high cliff she now stood upon. She would have to take the next step, march off the cliff's edge, and hope that the clouds below would be enough to hold her up. Or perhaps they wouldn't. Part 1. 1. The Last Glimpse. Tempe, Yonkers, January 14th, 1932. Ella was in the living room when her mother Tempe got home. Connie Boswell's Concentratin' on You was blaring from the phonograph, the melody effervescent, making Ella's fingers twitch even before she'd started dancing. Ella was showing her sister Franny a fun Charleston step when her mother hauled in 2 stuffed gray laundry sacks, their ends bunched tight with twine. You two have a good day? Her mother asked, rubbing where the string had bitten into her palms. Franny vaulted to the doorway to give their mother a hug, and Tempe bent over for a moment, rubbing Franny's back. Ella, always more reserved, hung back. It was okay, she said. Just okay? Ella shrugged. Yeah, just okay. She was swaying to the music. She couldn't get enough of music. She wanted to devour.